Alright, this video is going to be the pegboard assembly in parts. And this is going to be a two-part video. This will be the first part. In this video, I'm going to design the round peg, the square peg, triangle, pegboard, and pegboard end. In the second video, I'm going to design or show you how to assemble everything together. So let's get started. So for the round peg, I'm gonna go ahead and go File, New. We're gonna go English Standard. Oh, and I am using Autodesk Inventor 2020. In our classroom, we use Autodesk Inventor 2018. So it's a little bit different, but everything's about is manageable. So I'll point out a few differences as they come up. So I'm gonna start by building this round peg. The round peg starts off with a circle with a 1-inch diameter, and then we're gonna go ahead and extrude that by 3. So let's go ahead and do the circle first. We're gonna go to Sketch, Circle. I'll click on the XZ plane here. I'll click once on the origin. It doesn't have to be on the origin, and I'll start to drag out a little bit. I'm gonna type in 1, hit enter. Now we're gonna go 3D model. We're gonna extrude, and then we're gonna extrude this by 3. You may have already noticed the difference here between 2018 and 2020. This extrude little toolbars looks a little different. Key thing is you must hit OK. If you just simply hit enter, it's not gonna work out for you. Alright, so now we have our part. We're gonna go File, Save As, and you'll call it round peg. I already did this a little bit earlier, so I'm not gonna save it, but you will go ahead and save it. Next part is the square peg. So let's go ahead and go File, New, Inches again. Let's go Sketch. This is gonna be a 1x1 extruded by 3. So to do the 1x1 square, we're gonna click on the rectangle tool. I'm going to go ahead and use the XZ plane. It doesn't matter where I start. I'm going to click once and drag down to the right. I'm going to go ahead and type in 1, hit tab to switch dimensions, and then hit 1, enter. Now I'm going to zoom out and pan to center it. So let's go ahead and extrude by 3 inches. So we'll go 3D model extrude. Change that 1 to 3, and you have to hit OK. There's the square peg. Go ahead and File, Save As, and name that your square peg. Next up, the tricky one is a triangle. There's a lot of ways you can build a triangle. This triangle peg. I'm gonna use the lines to do it, and I'm gonna make an equilateral triangle that's 1x1x1 with an interior angle of 60 degrees. And it's important that however you design your triangle for this part, you must design the triangle the same way in the pegboard itself. So let's go ahead and do that now. I'll use the same XZ plane. I'm going to start at the origin and kind of drag it out. I want this to be 1 inch, and then this second number you see here, that's the degrees. I'm gonna leave that at 90 degrees for now. The second line, I'm going to make 1, and then I'm going to change my degrees to 60 because I want it to be an equilateral triangle. And now all you have to do is connect this last line to the first vertex or the first point. Now it's very crucial. If you were to click here, it would not connect and will not extrude. So it's crucial that you wait until you see that arrow pointing to vertex or a point that tells you that will connect. So if you hit 3D model extrude and it does not extrude, then most likely it did not connect properly. I'm going to go ahead and change that to 3 like the other pegs, and then you can go ahead and save that as your triangle peg. Alright, let's go ahead and again just File, Save As for that triangle peg. You're going to make sure you File, Save As, name it your triangle peg. Next part is the pegboard. So the pegboard is 3/4 in height by 5 3/4 in width. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit sketch. Now those dimensions refer to the front here that I'm pointing at with my mouse. So because it's gonna be in this front, instead of using the XZ plane, I'm actually gonna use my XY plane. And the reason for that is it'll make it easier when I'm assembling, and I'll hopefully remember to talk about that when I'm placing the items in an assembly document. So I'm going to click once and kind of drag out. Notice the bottom dimension is highlighted first, so let's go ahead and set that one. 5 3/4 as a decimal would be 5.75. Go ahead and hit tab. And the height is 3/4. 3/4 as a decimal is 0.75. Enter. And there's what would be the front of my pegboard. Now it says it has 3 inches in depth, so let's go ahead and 3D model extrude. And we're gonna extrude this by 3 inches. Hit OK. So there's our pegboard. Next, we have to design the 3 shapes on the face of this pegboard, and then we're going to make it a cut instead of an extrude. So let's go left to right. I'm going to go circle, triangle, square. So circle, and notice I clicked on circle. Now it's asking me which face do I want to create my circle on. So I'm going to click on this top face. I really don't like the way this looks, so I'm going to use this to rotate it. There we go. I'm going to just kind of randomly place my circle. Remember that the circle was 1 inch in diameter, so I'm going to hit 1, enter. Next up, I'm going to design my triangle. So I'm going to click once. Remember to go 90 degrees to the right, or 0 degrees in this case is fine. I'm going to type in 1, enter. Now here's the important one. We're going to kind of bring it up a little bit. It'll be 1 inch in length. However, 60 degrees to make that perfect equilateral triangle. And again, make sure that that's connected not to the line, but to the point. Alright, and then last we're going to draw a rectangle or square here, which is a 1 by 1. I did the math for you. You want to dimension the top of each shape 1 inch from the top, just to kind of center it. We'll do the top 1 inch, and here it's going to be 1.5 because of the radius plus the radius is 5, so from the top is 1, and then the 1 plus the radius, which is 0.5, half the diameter, makes it 1.5. Now left to right, again I already did the math here. 0.6 from the edge will be about right. From the center of the circle, it's about 1.1, and I measured it from the top of the triangle to the right, should be about 2.875, and that's about as centered as you need it to be for this project. Alright, next up we're going to go 3D model extrude, and now you can select each item you want to extrude, but we don't want it to extrude, we want it to cut. So I'm going to go ahead and cut. Should be all the way through, and I'm going to hit OK. And there's our pegboard. Go ahead and hit File, Save As, and you can save that pegboard. Let's see, next up is the pegboard end. So this one's always really fun to build. There's many ways you can do this. The 2 ways that come to my mind is to either create one big rectangle or one rectangle and then cut out this piece, or this is the way I find it sometimes a little bit easier, is just use a line tool and just kind of trace it all the way around. For the purposes of this video, I'm just going to use the line tool. It always seems to work for me, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to design this one on the YZ plane. Hopefully that'll make my assembly easier. These numbers are a little bit hard to see, but hopefully at home you can zoom in a little bit more. I kind of remember the numbers already. So the height, the vertical height is 4. Make sure it says either 0 degrees or 90 degrees. Enter. And then we're gonna go to the left, sorry. To the left, we're gonna go 0.75, and again, make sure it's a perpendicular angle, so either 90 degrees or 0 degrees, depending what angle you're building at. I'm gonna go ahead and click, and then I'm gonna go down 1.25, I believe, and make sure that's a 90-degree angle again. There it is. I'm gonna go inside 0.375, and again make sure it says 90 degrees. And I'm gonna go down 0.750 to the left, and notice that Autodesk is automatically guiding me to 0.375. I'm gonna go ahead and click, and then all the way down 2 inches, click, and then back to our original start. Again, remembering that this has to be connected to the point itself. This is I did something wrong here. Let's see. This should be 2. I don't know why it's that. There we go. Is that right? That's not 2. That should be 0.75. Sorry about that. There we go. It looked weird for a second. Now I'm going to connect these last 2 because I did not finish connecting them. And notice there's the point. Alright, that looks better. 3D model extrude. And just like last time, if it's not extruding, more likely than not, you did not properly connect the lines. Just go back and try it again. But there is the pegboard end, and file, save as. Make sure you save that as pegboard end. You don't need to design 2 of these, and I'll explain that in the assembly, because you simply have to just drop in 2 of the same part. Alright, this concludes part 1 of building all the parts. In part 2 we will assemble, so stay tuned for part 2. Thanks for watching.